Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Liang Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. San Francisco has been sued over allegations of moving homeless people and throwing away their stuff. City residents say there need to be a balance of keeping public spaces clean and individual rights. And the Supreme Court ruled to leave Title 42 in place for now. San Diego County, which sits on the U.S.-Mexico border, is still feeling the strain of increased migrants being dropped off in the county. San Francisco's homeless situation is so bad, it's even getting sued if it wants to shoot them away. The city allegedly forced them to move and throw their belongings away. But business owners and people who are fed up with the increasingly unsanitary conditions say there needs to be a balance of individual rights and clean public spaces.
San Francisco is being sued for allegedly forcing homeless people to move and discard their belongings when the city doesn't have anywhere for them to stay. According to the annual homeless count, about 7,800 unhoused people live on city streets. The Coalition on Homelessness and 7 individuals sued the city in September, saying that city workers were forcing homeless people out of public areas without offering shelter, which is illegal. City workers were also allegedly throwing out people's personal belongings without storing items such as medication, wheelchair, prosthetics, laptops, and cell phones for safekeeping, as required by the city's own policies. Toro Castaño, one of the 7 individual plaintiffs, said without affordable housing, they are forced to move from place to satisfy complaints. Today, he's in a hotel room paid for by the city.
And the larger picture is the lack of affordable housing over the last 40 years, the lack of construction, and the inability for the middle and working classes to sustain themselves here in San Francisco.
But attorneys for San Francisco deny that city workers illegally force people to move or throw out personal items. They say there are strict policies to balance individual rights with the need to clean public spaces. Officials say they are aware of the need for thousands more shelter beds, but added that people at encampment cleanups who want one will get one. In the Mission neighborhood, sprawling tents and snug cardboard boxes line both sidewalks of a busy street under a noisy freeway overpass. Inside a crowded tent lives 34-year-old Dylan Miner. He says he sells items he finds, not steal, and buys jewelry cheap for resale.
That's not fair. I don't know which way to turn, after losing all my stuff over and over again. I mean, you can gain your stuff back, but it takes a lot of work.
He fixes bikes, makes electronic music, and can do carpentry too. He is not part of the lawsuit, but welcomes it. Other homeless people shared their experiences living on the streets.
I've definitely been threatened. I've been threatened here, and I've definitely been told that if I was to come back here or whatever, that they would arrest me.
I believe that there should be some kind of designated help to help someone, be able to get on their feet and get on track if they desire to.
Despite the city's $672 million annual budget to address homelessness, everyone remains frustrated, from homeless advocates to business owners, residents, and unhoused people. Ryan Motzek, president of the Mission Merchants Association, said storefronts are empty despite the Mission neighborhood's historic popularity with young workers.
I don't want to say that someone without a home is a nuisance, but I will say that, having an encampment, it's often it does scare people away.
He said business owners are fed up, not necessarily with people who are unhoused, but the city that ignores them.
I can say that I hear from a lot of business owners that the conditions are so dire that it is absolutely affecting their business.
The San Francisco Department of Emergency Management, which houses encampment cleanup centers, said in a statement that outreach workers talk to unhoused residents beforehand to explain the process and offer services, including shelter. According to the department, San Francisco carried out 1,200 formal encampment cleanups from June 2020 to September 2022. Outreach workers encountered roughly 10,200 people, of which 54% declined shelter and 46% accepted. Nearly 900 people already had housing, but were living outdoors anyway.
Title 42 will be kept in place, at least for now. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled it will remain as legal disputes play out. The policy was aimed at stopping the spread of COVID-19 and allowed officials to quickly expel illegal immigrants.
In a 5-4 vote on Tuesday, the High Court granted a request by a group of Republican state attorneys general to put on hold a judge's decision invalidating the emergency public health order known as Title 42, while it considered whether they could intervene to challenge the ruling that 19 states have already opposed. The states argued that lifting the policy could lead to an increase in already record border crossings. President Joe Biden told reporters that the Supreme Court is expected to reach a ruling on the Title 42 immigration case by June, and in the meantime, the administration would have to enforce it, but he thought ending it was overdue. The policy was first implemented in March 2020 under Republican former President Donald Trump at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Democrat president kept the restrictions in place for more than a year after taking office in 2021. In the 2022 fiscal year, which ended September 30th, U.S. Border Patrol agents apprehended a record 2.2 million migrants at the southwest border. The Supreme Court said it would hear arguments over the policy in its February session.
Over 1,000 migrants have been transported to San Diego County in the past week. NTD's David Lam heard from a county supervisor who said the influx of people is unsustainable for the county.
San Diego County is at full capacity with the influx of migrants at its shelter and transit centers, and officials are demanding for federal government assistance.
Well, unfortunately, 2 days before Christmas, my office was notified via the Border Patrol that they were going to be dropping off asylum seekers in San Diego County, approximately 200 of them, at different transit stations.
San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond told NTD that the shelters in the county are filled up. When the Border Patrol buses people in from Texas or Arizona, they have to release the migrants because they can only hold people for so long.
And the only option for them was to drop it off at our transit stations. I asked a few questions like, well, are you providing them with tickets? Are you providing them with money, any assistance or guidance on how to even use the system or get to where they want to go? And the answer was no, 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 and no. So basically, they were just dropping them off. They said in a safe manner, which was nice, but it would have been nice if they had some sort of guidance as well.
Supervisor Desmond said this continued for at least 4 days so far, with over 1,000 migrants and asylum seekers dropped off.
We have 600 beds, so we have been working on this issue, but right now we're inundated. And if Title 42 ever does get lifted, it's going to be multiple times more people coming with the same under the same circumstances.
He pointed to Title 42, a policy that keeps people in Mexico until they receive asylum status to come across the border.
I think the federal government really needs to step up and provide either housing or some sort of guidance resources at these transit stations to help these people get on their way. And it's not just people from Mexico. We also see people from Haiti, from Colombia, from South America, Central America, from China, all Ukraine as well, all coming across the border, and they're not equipped to deal with whatever the issues they have in a foreign country.
Desmond believes his county will be at full capacity for many days to come. His solution is to secure the border and receive federal support, criticizing the Biden administration.
And one of the kind of more hypocritical things that this administration currently has been chiding or actually going after governors Abbott and DeSantis for dropping off migrants in cities, and here we have the federal government via the Border Patrol doing the exact same thing.
He says the current immigration system is broken, straining resources from San Diego County.
What we've seen before in the past, if you remember, President Obama had made a ruling about DACA and about children coming across the border. And when he made that public, we had all these people lining up at the border ready to come in and come across. Well, same thing has happened just recently with Title 42. We see a lot more people on the southern side of the border waiting to come across. And come into the country because that's lifted. And so that's just going to inundate our system even more. I think the best answer for this would be to secure the border. We see the images on TV all the time of people just walking across the border and then immediately going into the hands of our Border Patrol, and they're inundated.
The supervisor has been trying to bring awareness to the situation at the border. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
We're going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. Flight cancellations continue to strand passengers this week. Southwest Airlines has reported the most canceled flights. And New Year's celebrations aren't complete without fireworks. We have a list of best spots to watch the night sky display in Northern California. That and more on California Today. Speaking of airlines, thousands of Southwest Airlines passengers remain stranded this week across Southern California. The winter weather has led to canceled and delayed flights throughout the nation. As of 9:30 a.m. on Monday, Southwest Airlines had canceled over 2,900 flights nationally. This includes many flights from Los Angeles International Airport, or LAX, and other airfields across Southern California. At LAX, a total of 62 flights from all airlines have been canceled, with another 148 others being delayed.
Well, there's an element of surprise. So we wasn't anticipating this type of calamity, what I would call it. Even though we've tried to look at other airlines, and they're like $1,600 per person. And I'm saying that was not in our budget, so I said, we could do it, but we'd be so broke we couldn't afford free speech.
Stranded passengers were left with a few alternatives. The Southwest Airlines website lists all flights departing from Southern California as, quote, unavailable through Saturday.
We got a text message like 9 o'clock last night that our flight was canceled. I was on the phone for like 4 hours on hold, no answer. So we woke up this morning, I said, let's just come to the airport to see what's going on. So clearly the flights are canceled, and more canceled.
Well, my mom was supposed to come in on December the 23rd, Christmas Eve, and her flight got canceled initially. So we rebooked, and it got canceled. Rebooked, got canceled. Rebooked again, and it got canceled. Finally, she was able to get on a flight today.
There are no flights available for 3, 4, 5 days on Southwest. So if I could reschedule and go home another time, right now it's noon on Saturday. And that's a long way away for me, which I need to get back so I can get to work.
In Orange County, John Wayne Airport canceled 52 Southwest flights on Monday, among other airlines. Burbank, Long Beach, and San Diego also had canceled and delayed flights.
So I've had 2 flights canceled. So then we tried to get a train, and the train was booked. And then we tried to get a Greyhound bus, and that was booked. So we've got a rental car, but then when we came here, it was a 5-hour wait to maybe get a rental car. Yeah.
I lost my bags, as you can see. Everyone got their flights canceled. They lost their bags, luggage. Everyone's trying to find a way home, and that's all I'm trying to do right now is just look for my bag. I came to baggage claim yesterday, and they said it's still in Vegas, so they're gonna call me within like 2 to 3 days. But it's like I need my clothes. I'm gonna need my luggage right now, and it's kind of like it's frustrating.
Southwest Airlines issued an apology to stranded holiday travelers, stating that its operational challenges stem from last week's historic winter storm. According to a statement, Southwest says, with consecutive days of extreme winter weather across our network behind us, continuing challenges are impacting our customers and employees in a significant way that is unacceptable. And our heartfelt apologies for this are just the beginning. Officials with the U.S. Department of Transportation issued a statement calling the Southwest situation, quote, unacceptable, and it's investigating to examine if the airline's cancellations were valid. Southwest Airlines said it was fully staffed late last week and prepared for the approaching Christmas weekend when severe weather swept across the continent. The carrier, which typically has an aggressive schedule with flights around the country, has scrapped more than 12,000 flights since Friday. It said on Tuesday it would operate roughly a third of daily flights for the next several days. Impacted travelers can find more information on the company's website. One Los Angeles City Councilman recently announced a $47.5 million grant for Skid Row infrastructure. His office says the funding is the largest ever for the area.
Los Angeles City Councilman Kevin DeLeon announced on December 21st a $47.5 million grant for Skid Row, an area in the councilman's district. According to DeLeon's office, the funding will benefit programs such as a bicycle connectivity and pedestrian safety program. This project will also fund over 500 street trees and 500 pedestrian lights. Additionally, the grant will go towards widening sidewalks, creating new bicycle connections, and improving corridors. Other improvements include a new public plaza and 27,000 square feet of reconstructed sidewalks. $38 million will be provided by the state, while the city will provide $9 million. But in the midst of announcing the new funding, DeLeon is currently embroiled in a controversy. This stems from his refusal to resign for his participation in a leaked conversation deemed racist with allegations of attempting to manipulate redistricting. DeLeon was stripped of his council committee assignments, including his post as chair of the Homeless and Poverty Committee. He was also unanimously censured by his colleagues in October.
It's almost time to say goodbye to 2022 and ring in the 2023 new year. That means the annual San Francisco fireworks show is back. The display will kick off from a boat near the Ferry Building at 11:59 p.m. on December 31st. For those of you who want to watch the display, here's a list of some good spots in the city.
This year's annual fireworks show in San Francisco is set to kick off from a boat by the piers. The boat sits between the Ferry Building and the Bay Bridge. So for people who want to see the show, your best bet for a good view is anywhere you can see the top of the Ferry Building, as long as you have a clear view to the northeast. The best spot is Rincon Park, just east of the Ferry Building. It will have the best views but will likely be the most crowded. Arrive early and bring chairs or blankets. Nearby is Coit Tower. The area boasts a high enough elevation to enjoy views of the city and the waterfront. Moving further into the city, the top of Corona Heights Park is another good spot. The little park has some great views to the northeast. And a favorite among locals is Twin Peaks. The area offers gorgeous views of the city and the waterfront. Be sure to arrive early if you plan on parking nearby, as this area fills up quickly. And finally, for those who want to watch from outside the city, Treasure Island is perfect for that. The west side of the island has great unobstructed views of the show.
Now let's check in with NTD's Thomas Christian for today's Sports Roundup.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. All four of California's NBA teams hit the hardwood last night. Starting with the Lakers, LeBron James scored 28 points, Russell Westbrook had a triple-double, and Los Angeles stopped a 4-game slide, beating the Orlando Magic 129-110 on Tuesday night. James also had 7 rebounds and 5 assists in 31 minutes. The 4-time NBA MVP had scored at least 30 points in each of his last 7 games. Center Thomas Bryant added 21 points and 10 rebounds for the Lakers, who shot 54.4% from the field. Westbrook finished with 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 13 assists in a reserve role. Lakers 129, Magic 110. Paul George scored 23 points, Ivica Zubac also had 23 and 16 rebounds, and the Los Angeles Clippers won for the 7th time in 9 games by beating the Toronto Raptors 124-113 on Tuesday night. Norman Powell scored 22 points off the bench, and Kawhi Leonard had 15 as the two members of Toronto's 2019 championship team returned to Canada for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. Reggie Jackson scored 20, and Marcus Morris Sr. added 10 as all 5 Clippers starters scored in double digits. Pascal Siakam led the Raptors with 36 points, topping 25 for the career-high 5th straight game, and Scottie Barnes had 17 points and 13 rebounds as Toronto's home losing streak reached 4. The Clippers now moved to 4th place in the Western Conference and only 2.5 games back of first-place Denver. Clippers 124, Raptors 113. Michael Porter Jr. scored 30 points, Jamal Murray added 25, and the Denver Nuggets rallied from a 20-point deficit to beat the Sacramento Kings 113-106 on Tuesday night for their 5th straight win. Porter and Murray sparked an 8-0 run in a span of 56 seconds late in the 4th quarter to turn a tie game into another win for the top team in the Western Conference. The Kings had built a 20-point lead midway through the 2nd quarter before the Nuggets chipped away thanks to the play of Porter, who scored 19 points in the first half. The Kings' De'Aaron Fox scored 26 points and Kevin Huerter added 11. Sacramento has lost 3 of 4 games to open a 6-game homestand. Nuggets 113, Kings 106. Klay Thompson scored 29 points and Jonathan Kuminga delivered on both ends down the stretch, including a gutsy steal that helped the Golden State Warriors hold off the Charlotte Hornets late for a 110-105 win Tuesday night. Kuminga is earning more and more minutes for his defense, and he showed everybody the big strides he has made as a stopper with veteran Andre Iguodala as his guide and mentor. In one flashy sequence, Kuminga had a steal on one possession and then a defensive rebound and go-ahead dunk moments later on the other end. He made a short floating jumper from the baseline with 1 minute and 22 seconds to go and then dunked again with 21 seconds left. He finished with 14 points and 5 rebounds, and Jordan Poole added 24 points and 6 assists for Golden State. Charlotte's LaMelo Ball finished with 21 points and 10 rebounds. Wins like these are made even more important with the absence of Stephen Curry from the lineup. He said recently that he hopes to be able to return in another 2 weeks, but until then, the Warriors will take any win they can get. Warriors 110, Hornets 105.
And that's all for the sports.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.